Hi guys, Squad here, back with some Trucking Diaries. If you remember, we kind of parked up outside the Volvo garage. The sun was setting when we got here, and we are in a place called Gdynia, which is right next to Gdansk. This is where we arrived last time, and if you look at our resting state at the moment, our driver doesn't need to rest. So there's not much point in sleeping here overnight, because all that sleeping does would bring us into the next day, which brings us, you know, another step closer to paying a bank loan. So we need to maximize how much money we can earn per day. So I have taken a job. It's a job which is going to take us deeper into Poland. Let's get started up here. And we're going to have to drive around the corner. I think it's some tractors, if I remember. It's some kind of... I think it's 20 tons of tractors. Let's get down there and have a look. Oh, actually, hang on. Wasn't there a roadblock down there? There was indeed. Let's go this way. So yeah, Poland, obviously because I'm running Pro Mods, Poland is quite a nice place to drive through because it has the whole Poland rebuilding integrated into Pro Mods these days. Whoops, wrong gear. That's the gear we want. I keep chopping and changing trucks, and it keeps throwing me getting used to the different gearboxes that I have in the different trucks. And this Scania 143 has got its own particular kind of gearbox. The roads are super quiet. What's going on? So, Eurotruck 125 is out in a beta. Flipping out. Physics, please. Out in a beta. I'm still running 124 at the moment. And the reason I'm running 124, thanks for cutting the road off, is because Pro Mods doesn't work with 125 yet. They're working on it. But 125 is not actually officially out, so they're not going to release it, I don't think, until 125 is officially out. Now, I don't want to drive without Pro Mods in this series, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until 125 releases and Pro Mods comes out before I go to 125 in this series. I think that makes the most sense. Oh, put a foot down. That was on red. No! No! I could have done without that fine. 350 euros. That's going to come out of my pocket, that is. Look at that bridge. Construction of the bridge is awesome, isn't it? Oh, sorry, it's not a bridge, it's a stadium. What am I talking about? It's a stadium, derp. There is one that looks like that, and it has all the bits sticking out, and it's a new bridge being built. But that's, the design of that looks a little bit like the London Stadium that they did for 2012. I think it's a stadium. It looks like one. It's a bit of an industrial area, though, for a stadium. So, I don't know. Maybe it isn't, actually. I don't know what it is. Oh, well. Here we are at the pickup point. Alright, so we're already 350 euros down, which is full-on GG. Right, freight market. Here you go. The Ponce Buffalo, 20 tons. And we're going to go down to Lublin. So we're going to go right through Poland. We're going to have a look at our route here, because we could go via a couple of places like Warsaw, pick up some more discoverals. We could even route it through Gdansk. Potok might be a little bit far out. Let's go and get the trailer, and then we'll make a decision about the route. What's the fuel level like? 2/3 of a tank. Okay, we're okay for fuel. Fairly straightforward pickup. There we go. Right. Let's put the parking brake on 1 second. Let's have a look at the map. And let's see what we need to do. Ah, we've actually got 2 discoverables here. So if we take perhaps a route that way. Okay. Okay, that's really awkward, isn't it? Let's just put them both down there, and then we'll figure it out when we get down there. I was kind of hoping it was loop us around, but it's not playing ball. Yeah, I don't think we'll go down that road there, because that would detour quite a bit. But I think we do need to come here and here. That's not so bad, and Warsaw is probably worth having. One of these is going to be a truck dealer. In fact, one of these is going to be a truck dealer as well, because there's 2 of them. If there's only one of them, you know, it's likely to be just a truck. God, I can't think of the word. What are they called? Agencies. Thank you. I couldn't get the word. Right. So there's nothing here in Lublin. The mosque. It might be worth driving to there after the delivery, you know, at some point, just to pick that up, because it's kind of in a corner on its own. Unless you're directly going there, you're never going to pick it up bypassing that way, you know. A lot of these things you can get just by driving by and taking a very small detour, but that's out on a limb, that is. Well, let's begin the journey. We've got 523 k's ahead of us. Actually, do we need any beacons? No, we don't, do we? Oh, maybe. Trailer doesn't have a beacon, and I don't have a beacon, so I think we probably should have a beacon on the trailer for this, but it doesn't come with one. So yeah, it's going to be a nighttime trip, I'm afraid. Which is obviously not as entertaining as a daytime trip. But we don't do that many nighttime trips, so it's kind of fun to do one now and again. I don't know if you tried 125 beta yet. I have. The DAF, the XF105 that's in 125 beta is obviously a port from the 50k version, and it's very nice. It's very nice. The DAF. If you get 125, try out the DAF. It's a really nice truck to drive. Very nice. It's also got adjustable steering wheels. Now, the adjustable steering wheels in 125 works on all of the stock trucks, but it doesn't work on the mods. So the actual mod authors for the trucks are going to have to make a change to make it work with adjustable steering. The adjustable steering is it's not a ground-breaking feature, but it's a nice thing to have. And the reason it's a nice thing to have is because sometimes, like when you're adjusting your seating position in a truck, you can get it so that, you know, you feel like you're at the right height inside the truck. You feel like you've got good clarity out of the mirrors. But, you know, the steering wheel's just in a slightly awkward position and you can't quite make out the dashboard clearly. With the adjustable steering, you can kind of get around that. What is interesting, though, is my normal order of doing things when I get in a new truck is adjust the seating position first, and then adjust all the mirrors. Whereas now what it tends to be is adjust the seating position first, then adjust the steering wheel and make sure they work with each other, and then finally adjust the mirrors. If you do it in the wrong order, like if you do the mirrors before you do the seating, or the steering before the seating, it doesn't work, because as soon as you move the seat, both the wheel and the mirrors probably need adjusting. But it's a nice little feature. The adjustable steering's quite a nice little feature. The AI, I saw the AI doing some really weird things. I mean, we all know the AI can be a little bit derpy at times. But in the 125 beta at the moment, I have seen traffic stop dead in roads and not move. And there was one particular situation where I was sat at a junction waiting to turn. I was on like a major, like a highway like this, but with no central reservation, like a 4-lane road. And I needed to turn into a road, and I sat there with my indicator on, and a vehicle just came along and pretty much parked right next to me, blocked me from doing anything, and didn't move. It just sat there, and sat there, and sat there, and everything completely gridlocked. I turned my indicator off, I reversed back a little bit, nothing seemed to kickstart it. So I think there's a little bugette there that needs squishing. In the end, I ended up just pushing him out of the way. And he was an Aston Martin driver as well, this car, Aston Martin, so I tried not to scratch his car. I didn't get fined for it, I just kind of gently pushed it out of the way and then got on with my life, but... Yeah, the 125 beta is... I think maybe they've tweaked the AI and it's caused a problem somewhere. It must be really, really difficult to develop, to actually build AI code that can deal with all situations. It's got to be so hard, and if you make one change, you might fix one thing and then break another. Why are we speeding? 50, that's better. Bring it down to 50. Right, we're in Gdansk here. Straight through. So we've got 2 discoverables to pick up here. But yeah, the 125 is it's not a massive change, it's an iteration change with a couple of bells and whistles thrown in. I think the big thing that people are waiting for in the Euro Truck world is probably the France DLC, which I would hope comes with the Renault Range T. But, you know, when we're going to get that? Probably later this year, I'd guess. Along with the American Truck Sim rescale. Other than that, I've not heard anything. I don't see... I watched the blog post, but it's all gone a little bit quiet down at SCS. I don't really know what they're working on, to be fair. Okay, this is an agency. A Jankapaki. Now I've got to turn round, which I could have done there, I suppose. Just have to hope I can loop around this way. Whoa, hello. There's actually a bus pulled up at the bus station. I presume that's a static model. Maybe that's part of the Poland rebuilding. I don't believe I've seen that in the standard Euro Truck world. I almost cut that bend a little bit too far, and I don't know if you saw my trailer, but I nearly hit the central reservation then. Okay, this has got to be a dealer, a truck dealer. I'm surprised the lights are not flashing amber. Or maybe they don't do that in this country. Scania, ooh. Okay, right, that's that done. Presume we're going to take a right turn over here. No, we're supposed to be U-turning. Oh, that looks good lit up, doesn't it? Yeah, the sat-nav's not yet updating, which has got me slightly worried. Oh, hang on. I know what it is. I need to get rid of... It didn't actually flag that point that we went through. Point 1. For some reason, even though we went that way. We'll clear that. Oh man, there's just no traffic. Look at it. This place is like a ghost town. But yeah, I shall bring back another episode of American Trucking Diaries as well, in case you're wondering where that's gone. It's not, you know, it's not gone anywhere. So we'll do another episode of that. I need to decide with American Truck Diaries, I need to decide how far to take it. That's the thing, because... Well, the pace of development of American Truck Sim, you know, new content... isn't as high as I would hoped it might be, and I don't like driving all the same places all the time. And the only kind of expansions you can get, well, the quality is a little bit ropey, so either I back off on the episodes and just do one every couple of weeks maybe, or I say, right, we're going to finish at this point, like episode 50 or level 50 or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm still trying to work out at what point to say that series is finished, because I don't feel like I can continue doing it if the content's not changing underneath. There's only so much you can do. There's only so many roads you can drive down. With Euro Truck, there's just like so much. There's so many roads, there's so many trucks, there's so many trailers I can get that I can always kind of keep chopping and changing things up. But with American Truck, it just doesn't feel the same, you know? It doesn't feel like there's as much stuff there. So, need to make a decision on that. In other news, I think I mentioned to you that I've got a HTC Vive. I've been lining up the kind of VR games that I'm going to look at. I'll probably do a little bit of an unboxing video first, just to show you the components of the Vive and how to install it, how to set it up, that kind of thing. There is, of course, the Oculus Rift, which I don't have. The Rift comes with, well, it doesn't come with any controllers yet. They're only available at the end of the year, so at the moment the Vive has got an advantage in that it has these kind of hand controllers that you can use to interact with things, whereas the Rift just doesn't get that yet. They are available for developers, but they're not available to buy for consumers until the end of the year. And the thing is about the Vive and the Rift is they're both pretty expensive. I mean, you're talking 6, 7, even 800 sort of pounds to buy one, depending on where you buy it from. So they're not cheap. You know, it's pretty much the price of a reasonably spec'd gaming PC, you know, without the monitor, obviously just the base unit, but it's like a bit of an outlay. It's like twice the price of a console. Those with a PlayStation console, of course, are probably going to get the PlayStation VR. The PlayStation VR runs at like half the resolution of the Rift and the Vive, but you know, it's nowhere near as expensive. It's like half the price, and probably suits the console people. But I'm not going to look at any of that. I'm going to look at the PC stuff. But the things I want to look at, as well as like the interesting stuff in VR, games like Ubisoft's got this like Eagle Flying game coming out. Google's got this art package that you can use, which is amazing to use and draw things with, like creativity-wise. As well as that kind of stuff, I think I want to look at like simulation side of it. I know that there are flight sim. We've got toll booth. We have. I know that there are flight sim adapters that have been developed. I need to take a look at those so that I can play, you know, P3D in a VR environment and show you what it's like. I know that Euro Truck supports the Rift. I don't know if it supports the Vive or whether I have to get the Revive project in order to get that to work. I'll have to see. But I want to show you guys, you know, what it looks like, explain to you what it feels like. Obviously, I can't show you it in 3D. But what I was thinking of doing was showing you the game and then having a separate camera that shows me, basically. Oh, wrong gear. 4L, thank you. A separate camera that shows me and my movements and what I'm doing. The challenge is the microphone, funnily enough. Like the speakers, I can probably put some headphones in. The microphone is the real challenge, because obviously I need to be mobile. I can't be sat next to my studio mic. So I've not figured that one out yet. I need to figure that out before I carry on. Obviously, if I'm playing something like a flight sim, it's easy. I can just use my normal microphone. But if I need to like stand up and do things, actually I should have gone to. I need to use the high gear more. If I need to stand up like the art package and wave things around, I can't use the studio mic. So I need to figure that out, how to get. I have got some like lavalier mics, they're called. They kind of clip onto your t-shirt. They're what you see if you have like a talk show environment. They'll often have a lavalier mic just clipped underneath their head on the t-shirt. It's that kind of microphone. I could use that. I have got like a wireless adapter for it, so I can relay the signal. But my voice will sound very different on that microphone because You know, every microphone is different, really, and it picks up your tones in a different way. And a lavalier microphone it aims for clarity, so it kind of doesn't quite have as much warmth in it, I think is the right word. So I will sound different, but that's, you know, there's nothing I can do about that. But I will show you the VR games. I saw some really cool VR stuff at Gamescom. There was one game I was playing, which was only like a prototype game. If you think about Tron, you know, the kind of Tron world, when you put your headset on, it was like that. It was a HTC Vive, and it was a one-on-one game. There was you and your opponent. Your opponent is obviously physically facing you, so you need a reasonably sized room if you're going to go physically one-on-one. But when you put your headset on, your arm has this kind of shield, which looks like something out of Tron, like an energy shield. And it's on one of your arms, and if you press a button, you can flick it from your left arm to your right arm. So that's one sort of thing you need to use. And then you have like an energy ball, and you use your Vive controller to, you press the trigger key to generate the energy ball, and then you physically like throw the controller forward, as it were, to fire your energy bolt. And the direction that you throw it is the direction that the bolt goes in. And it is actually very, very accurate. You know, you can very accurately throw something, and it feels like you're in real life throwing something. But you're in a room. You're in like a corridor room, and when the energy ball hits the sides or the top or the floor, it bounces. So you can almost, you know, air hockey. It's a bit like that. It's a bit like trying to fire your air hockey puck off the side walls and bounce it into your opponent's goal. So you're trying all kinds of tricks. You're trying firing your energy ball off the wall to hit the ceiling to come down at him at an awkward angle. And what he has to do is he has to either dodge it, or he has to put his arm up and use his energy shield to block it. But the thing is when the energy ball hits the shield, it makes the shield smaller. And after I think it's 2 hits, your shield is really, really small. So if this ball comes at you really quickly, you've got to be very accurate with your shield. It's absolutely great fun. It really is. And when your energy ball hits your opponents, it recharges your shield and makes your shield bigger again. So obviously the trick is to hit your opponent, to charge your shield up and diminish his, and eventually to actually get a clean hit, which then deducts a point from him. It's a great game, and I left my details with the developer to say, can you please let me have a look at this thing, because I really want to show people this. The thing is, right now, is there are many companies that are sort of working out how to use VR. Like, what can we do with it? It's like the Wild West almost. You know, it's like in the early days, and people are trying to figure out what to do with this technology. And so you're seeing a combination of really cool things and really stupid things. You know, some of the stuff you see being made out of VR, you're looking at it thinking, well, after about 10 minutes and the novelty's wore off, I don't think I'm ever going to play that again. But the Tron thing, I don't think the Tron thing has got lasting gameplay. But when you're playing it, my life, it's fun. But it's like what you can do with the technology. It's where they could take it from there. They could probably start to put you in different environments, put you in rooms with different kind of obstacles to give really weird angles to bounce things off. It's where else they can go with it. Maybe stuff that you can throw your ball at, like sensors that you can hit, and then it changes the map in some way, like it brings up something or removes something. Make it more dynamic. I think it's where the technology is going is the most interesting thing right now. And that's just that's just one example of one game. The Ubisoft eagle flying thing, I think I've explained to you before. It's like you're flying around and you've got to catch some prey and take it back to the nest, and it's 3-on-3 team-based action. That's tremendous fun. It really is. There's another game called, I think it's called Odd Sniper, and it is a VR-only like military sniping game. So everybody in there is using a headset, a VR headset, in 3D, and you have to, you know, physically lie down to get your guy to go prone. You've got to sort of pull the gun up with your controllers. It's just insane. I can see perhaps medieval games coming in where you're swinging your sword around and your shield and fighting a virtual battle. I can see that kind of thing working. My main interest lies in the sim side of things, though. I want to see what it can do for the sim world. I can't remember if I explained to you about a sort of simulation I went on at Gamescom. I think I did. It was like a VR digging game, but it wasn't a game. These guys make software and systems for training digger drivers how to operate the machinery, and it's a full-blown machine, and it has a VR headset, so you get the whole 3D thing. And the thing is about something like that is when you're operating a digger, without realizing it, you use your depth perception to see, you know, how far something is, and slow down a bit. How far something is and how to operate the equipment. When you don't have a VR headset, you kind of lose that depth perception. Well, once you put one of these headsets on, you get that back, and that's the fascinating side of VR for me, is how it's going to enhance simulation by bringing back the depth perception. When it comes to flight sim, you know, anything inside the cockpit begins to look super realistic. Anything outside the cockpit, a little bit less so. You know, I don't think that, for example, I played a Rift on Elite Dangerous, and the cockpit environment felt super realistic. But when you look outside, given that stars are millions of light years away, there's no 3D perception on them anyway. So almost everything that you see outside of the cockpit, until you kind of come up close to something, like an asteroid. Like if an asteroid flies by, yes, it suddenly looks 3D. If you're docking in a space station, yes, it starts to look really 3D. When you're out and about having combat, it's not that useful. But Elite Dangerous, I think, allows you to land on planets as well now, so that's when it starts to become more useful. Flying over close terrain, you definitely get the 3D effect. And I think Star Citizen is another one. Star Citizen is, you know, I think it already has VR support, I'm not sure, but in Star Citizen there's an awful lot of walking around your space station. Like, you get up out of your bed, you walk around, you go over to a console, you order your ship to be brought out of storage, you then walk outside onto the platform, you physically climb into your craft, and then you take off. All of that benefits from the 3D VR experience. But again, once you're flying around in space, unless you're flying near things, then you don't really have that 3D effect. But obviously, you know, it has a kind of a built-in head tracking, so you've got the ability to do this and look around, which, you know, as any fighter pilot or space pilot will tell you, in a fighting situation, having a head track versus not having a head track is a massive advantage. You know, in any kind of dogfight scenario, the ability to look up like this, keep your eye on the target whilst operating your aircraft, is phenomenally advantageous. And I think the fact that these have head tracking built in, never mind the 3D side of it, is a great thing in itself. I have heard that there are some applications though that do make you feel very queasy. One of my own Twitch moderators, for example, he tried the HTC Vive. He tried it with Project Cars, and hang on, let's get the right gear. He tried it with Project Cars, and he said he played it for about 15 minutes and felt really nauseous. How do you say that word? Nauseous. Felt really nauseous. Even though all the other VR stuff he tried, he was absolutely fine with. And I've not tried Project Cars with the Vive yet, but I will. I will try one of the racing games with the Vive, and I'll let you know if it... I'll kind of give things a rating, I think. Actually, yeah, I'll do that. I'll give things a rating. I'll give them like a nauseous rating, 1 to 3. I'll give them a immersion rating. What are the ratings going to give them? Let me think about that. But as I start to cover more and more titles, I'll let you know what I think of them. Blimey, this 20-tonner is hard work for my engine. But yeah, I'm excited to start taking a look at this stuff and getting into the whole VR world, because I do think that I think that 2017 is probably going to be a turning point for VR. You know, at that point we'll have both the Rift and the Vive available with the hand controllers. The console is even dipping its toes into the VR world, and I think 2017, hopefully the prices can start to move downwards a little bit, because right now they are, you know, they're pretty much out of reach for most people. And you can tell there's a lot of interest just by the fact that when you go to these events, there's so many people queuing up to go on the VR stuff. Like, some of the queues, they're queuing for like an hour, hour and a half sometimes just to go on a VR thing. There was, at Gamescom, they had a Red Bull. Red Bull had a massive stand, like a huge stand. And you could try the Red Bull Racing game, which is coming out, I think, in October. But there was about 4 VR headsets that you could try. Most of them were non-VR, but they had about 4 VR, and people were just queuing up for it because, well, they wanted to fly a Red Bull airplane in VR. They know they're not going to get hold of a VR system for a long time, so they want to see what it's like. There's a huge amount of interest in it. So yeah, I thought now was the time to sort of step up and have a look at this stuff. Right, 225 kilometers left. My guy looks like he's coming up for a rest. 4.5 hours. Okay, that's not so bad. 4.5 hours, but ETA is 3.5. Okay, that implies we can make the whole journey without stopping. That's interesting. I tell you what though, even though it's night time, the ambient daylight has been quite high, and given the lack of traffic at this time of night, this has been a rather nice journey. It's almost like moonlight. You know, the lights are on, there's good visibility, it's not really been pitch black. And I think the lack of traffic has allowed us to sort of make good pace, so I've kind of enjoyed this run so far. Let's see if we can get it up to 78, and then we can lock the cruise control in. There we go. But yeah, so I'll let you know about VR. I'll let you know what I think about it. I need to work out where to put my sensors. The HTC Vive comes with 2 wall sensors, and you're supposed to put them at diagonal points from each other. But I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, because if I do that, one of them will be behind my green screen, which is fine. It means I have to roll my green screen up every time I want to use it, which I'll probably do anyway, so I probably will be able to do it. I think I need to read up on what they do, but I think they define, obviously they pick up on the sensors, but I think they define the room as well. So whatever you put them, if you imagine a square or a rectangle, you put these things at diagonal points from each other, and that defines the playing room, the playing area, if you like. Like, you can't, if you go outside of that area, the sensors won't pick up, essentially. Oh yeah, I forgot we're going to Warsaw. Krakow. Yeah, we've got 2 discoverables to get here first. So I don't know if we're going to make it before we need to sleep or not. We'll have to see. $17 km per limit. Yeah, so this is, you know, what is quite amusing about going from 124 to 125 and having to turn off pro mods is when you look at Poland. Like, never mind all the other stuff. Uh-oh, what was that? Never mind all the other stuff. You know, no Iceland and all this kind of thing. But when you look at Poland, like, the default cities compared to Poland rebuilding in there is unbelievable. Keep seeing that advert, you know, that billboard though. I'm not even... Oh, Nivea. Okay, so it must be like a face cream. scumbag lights, come on! There's absolutely no traffic whatsoever. Right, what have we got here? 3 hours 54. ETA 3 hours. I think we can do this. I need to get some drivers, guys. I need to start... I was looking at the banking situation. Like, we're on 31,000 euros right now, and I still owe most of the 100,000 loan. So I really don't want to get another loan, but... You know, the sooner we get another driver, the sooner they start leveling up, the sooner they start earning money. And as much, like, I think I'm earning 11,000 per day. Right now. And a loan, I think it adds about 5,000 per day loan on top. And I've got to take the brunt of that until my drivers start to earn money. It's going to cost like 180 grand just to buy another 2 slots in the garage, which I'm going to have to do. And then I'm going to have to buy 2 trucks, which is going to be, what, 100 grand each? So that's, what, 380,000. Which is pretty much the 400 grand that I would need, that I would get on a loan. Plus the 100 I already have. You know, for the first few days, until they start earning money, I'd pretty much be breaking even. I need to check when I'm going to level up, actually. Oh, look at that skyscraper. That's cool. I didn't realise Warsaw had such high-rise buildings, to be honest. It feels like a zombie apocalypse has happened. There's just nobody, like, nobody on the road. It's almost like playing Euro Truck multiplayer, Kappa. Finished tablets, $12.99 per pack. I don't understand what those words are saying on the posters. I've no idea. I couldn't even guess. If it was like French or German, I could guess. Alright, so this has got to be a truck dealer, which is adding to our repertoire. We discovered a Scania last time. Mercedes-Benz. It's the full one as well. Wait, that's an airport. I can see the tail fins, and that's the control tower. I wonder if I see anything take off. Can't see anything. Uh-oh, wrong lane. Yeah, I bet if you're going down that route, I bet you'd see him taking off, but not from here. Come on, come on. Dang it, wasn't quick enough for my gear change. Oh, that looked like a Flixbus, didn't it? Well, I've got an announcement to make in my next Flixbus video, actually, thinking about it. But I'm not going to say it here. I'll wait for the Flixbus video and tell you. I kind of feel like I might be sat a little bit too far back. I don't know. $170 to go. 2 hours 46 minutes. Yeah, we're just about within time. We can get there without resting, which is nice. The downside is we then have to rest, and that takes us up to midday. So I'm kind of dictated by the driving schedule. I mean, some of the journeys are going to be at night, like this one. Oh, well, to be fair, we're about to see a nice sunrise, I think. Look at the roads there. Look at this modelling. I love these kind of glass things that reduce the noise. They're so cool. What I don't get though is, what is the noise reduction for? It's not a residential area, I don't think, unless that is. Or maybe that is though. I think that was it. Yeah, I think there was some apartments. There's 78, cruise control. Right, we've got to get the correct lane here. Centrum that way. I think we want to go this way. Yep. You get the wrong lane and you're going to end up going in a completely different direction. I have to say, graphically, Euro Truck seems to be behaving a lot better these days. I don't really know why that is, but feels like in a very recent version, like 1.23 maybe, it just felt like the whole thing started to run a bit smoother. I'm quite happy with the way it's behaving now. For a DirectX 9 custom engine, they sure are squeezing every last drop out of this thing. It's quite amusing. It feels like more and more developers are moving to Unreal Engine. Like Dovetail Games this week announced their new train simulator, the Train Sim World it's called. And that's based on the Unreal Engine. And it looks very nice. Fernbus, that's on the Unreal Engine, looks very nice. Then if you play something like Stranded Deep, I think that's on the Unity engine. But again, it looks very nice. I think the problem SCS have is that to port their engine over onto console would be a tremendous amount of effort. Moving away from their own engine onto something like Unreal would also be a tremendous amount of effort, so they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. But at the same time, if they was to put this onto console, they'd make an insane amount of money. It almost feels like they should think about either hiring a dedicated team or hiring an external contractor to just port the engine onto either Unreal or onto console, because I'm pretty certain the sales would more than make up for that investment. Who knows, maybe they're secretly working on something. Maybe that's why they've gone really quiet. Maybe they're building a brand new game. And, you know, in a couple of years' time, they'll suddenly go, yes, we were quiet about this, but we're proud to announce our brand new World Truck Simulator, you know, fully online, based on the Unreal Engine, available on all platforms. You know, just like the trucking game to end all trucking games. Maybe they're secretly doing it in a research project. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. I think they need to have something up the sleeve. I mean, traditionally they're quite an open company, but if they had a project that was going to last 2 or 3 years to build something like that, I don't think they'd tell us in the first couple of years. Because if they did, then their competitors might sort of, you know, try and step in and do something. We'll see. Only time will tell. What's interesting is in the farming simulator world, things are really hotting up in the farming sim world. So, Giants, who make Farming Simulator 15, they've got their new one coming out this year, Farming Sim 17. They only release onto PC every other year. In between, they release onto a mobile platform. So, they're about to release Farming Sim 17 next month in October, and there's 2 years worth of work. 2 years! And if you actually look what they've done, it's kind of, well, they've enhanced the graphics a bit, they've brought in female driver models, they've brought in some new vehicles, and it's like, it's nothing like 2 years worth of work, you know? And here's where it gets interesting. Playaway, the people who make Car Mechanic Simulator, they just released their own farming sim. I think it's called Pure Farming or something like that. It's not. I don't think it's a brilliant game. It's an okay game, but they've released it. There's another company that I saw at Gamescom that's got their own farming sim coming out in January, February next year, and that aims at like detail level farming. Like the CEO is an ex-farmer, put it that way. So that game is going to focus on, you know, the moisture of the soil and whether, you know, if it rains, the moisture of the soil will go up, so you won't need to water the crop. But if it doesn't, you need to water the crop. Same with the fertilizing, you need to keep the fertilization levels up. So that, you know, it's taken a different approach. But the point is, there are at least 2 other farming simulation games coming out. And given that Giants are about to release their latest incarnation and then won't release another one for 2 years, and they're currently the market leader, right? But they won't have another one out for 2 years. And there are 2 new ones coming out. That's a problem for them because that's going to take a bite out of their market share. And if they rest on their laurels for the next 2 years, they're going to be in trouble. Now, contrast that with something like SCS, right? SCS is, in the trucking world, dominant. There is no other truck simulator, really. You know, they talked about doing a coach sim. It's not materialised yet. And Fernbus has kind of stepped in and filled the void. Fernbus is not perfect, but, you know, the developers are pretty keen to make it a great game. You know, from a good game to a great game. But they don't have any competitors in the trucking world. So SCS can kind of do what they like. But for how long? Like, if somebody else just suddenly turned around and announced a trucking simulator, SCS, unless they've got some other plans, some other game up their sleeve, some other kind of next generation trucking in the works, could suddenly find themselves on the back foot. Please don't pull out on me. Oh my god. Wow. Heart was in my mouth, not gonna lie. Because I think simulation itself is, the simulator market is moving. It's really picking up. And I think there's a number of reasons for that, but primarily it's to do with PC hardware technology just being at a level now where it's possible to do like really amazing simulations. With engines like Unreal and others, you can do pretty cool stuff. So if anybody's out there resting on the laurels, somebody's going to step in and say, we're going to make something better here. Competition is what keeps things moving forward. Okay, we have arrived at our destination in Lublin. We are 3 kilometers away. My guy is starting to get tired now. If these lights change, we might even get this thing dropped off. Right, let's get in the correct gear. Okay, first to third with a 20-ton trailer. Nah, it doesn't work. I don't think there's any damage. Let's have a look. No, we've got 6% truck damage, but I think that's mostly from wear and tear. I don't think we've had a collision. Notice the speed bumps. I've not seen that style in any other country. Just putting like random blocks in the ground. Well, there's a fuel station there, so we could actually fuel up and rest there for tomorrow. So I might go and park over there when we're done. Oh, I like this delivery point. Look at this. Barriers on the way in. Fantastic. What? That's all boarded up. There's no Jeff. Oh my god, look at this. What the heck? Are you serious? Wow. Just get weighed up here. Wow, that's pretty awesome. They need to do something about the physics when you go over a speed bump. It's super unrealistic. Okay, we're delivering this into a lumber yard apparently, which makes sense because is it actually? Yeah, it's one of those out of. I've seen these in Farming Sim. There's another one called a Scorpion that cuts things, and this thing loads them onto the back. And you can actually drive these in Farm Sim. Logs everywhere, good grief. Let's get this thing dropped off. The early morning 6:30 delivery. Those logs are a pain. Can somebody pick them up? I'm not sure if it's going to take that. Yes, it is. Right, parking brake set. Trailer released. Let's get paid. Nice. 13,400 with 826 XP, a brand new level and a half almost. Wow. That went pretty well. Now then, let's see. Maybe we need to go with ADR and unlock some different kinds of cargo now. Maybe class 2 for flammable. Let's get hold of that. That'll give us some more options for driving. I'm kind of going with that because I want to have more interesting things that I can show you. If I was just playing this offline, I'd probably have put my points in something else. Probably a long distance drive because once you do long distance, it really pays the bills. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I want to go that way. Right, let's go and park up for the morning. I take it we have to go out this way. That's actually quite cool. Okay. We have very little in the way of fuel. Put my side lights on now, I think. That was a good delivery. We talked nonsense for probably close to 50 minutes. Got the delivery done. Got paid over 13,000. Lost 300 with a red light offence, but I'm not going to worry about that. Oh, the police are here. Oh, there's a service station as well. Okay, engine off. Let's fill her up. I know I'm getting tired. Show me how much money I'm paying. Blimey. This is coming out of the profit. 645 euros. That's not too bad. Where do I park, though? Round the back there, apparently. I think while we're here, I might just get my truck serviced. If we quickly hit service, and 3,300 per, good grief. When you're only getting paid 13 grand, 3,000's a lot, you know? Yeah, this is a rest stop here. We'll go and park down here in the corner. Lights off, engine off. And we are done. Burger bun, as they say. I think maybe next time I might get a big loan and hire some drivers. I might just do that. Next thing to do is sleep here, though, through the day. They're going to have to take another job. So that's it for this episode of Trucking Diaries. I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And until the next one, take care. Happy trucking.